activity report for the zip code 23451 located in the city of Virginia Beach, Virginia. This is one of the most popular areas to live in due to the fact it's right next to the Atlantic Ocean and right next to the Chesapeake Bay in the city of Virginia Beach. There are also many other factors that drive up the demand for this area. This video will be great for anybody that is interested in living next to the beach or living next to the Chesapeake Bay. It would also be great for anybody that has lived in the Hampton Roads area and may be interested in moving to Virginia Beach, or anybody that's in Virginia Beach that may be interested in living in the 23451 zip code. This would also be a great video for anybody that already lives in the 23451 zip code and may be interested in listing their home right now and may not know what's going on. This would also just be a great video for anybody that is just interested in learning about the real estate market in the city of Virginia Beach. I hope this video will provide a lot of great information and will provide value to those who watch it. So if you can take the time to like the video, share the video, or even subscribe to this channel, I would appreciate it very much. If not, I hope you got a great lesson from this video and it brought you value. I am a realtor in the city of Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I actually work out of the 23451 zip code. I've lived here my whole life, and I think it is a great area to live in, and that's why I think it would be great for me to provide as much information as I can to those who are interested in this area or in the city of Virginia Beach. So please, once again, subscribe to the channel. Let's get started on the video. Today we're going to go over a market activity report for the zip code 23451 located in the city of Virginia Beach. This will focus on trends, data, and other information for this particular zip code. As mentioned in the introduction video, this would be great for anybody that is interested in buying in this particular zip code, or anyone that is possibly thinking about listing and wants some more information on the current trends for this zip code. As you can see in the picture above, that is actually a property that I have listed right now in the 23451 zip code. However, it is under contract, but I thought I'd share it since we are doing a market activity report focused on this particular zip code, and I currently have a listing in this zip code. It's 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and 1,800 square feet. All right, so let's get started. So I wanted to share some basic information on this zip code. There are 3 schools zoned in this zip code, including Cox High School, First Colonial High School, and Ocean Lakes High School. This zip code covers part of Shore Drive, all of the oceanfront, Bird Neck and Laskin Road, parts of General Booth, and the median home price is $435,000. This is based on the last 12 months. This zip code is highly sought after due to being so close to the beach and Chesapeake Bay. As you can see, this area has covers a lot of the coastline in Virginia Beach, and also it is a pretty big territory, and that's why we're going to break it down into different areas. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to start with the Shore Drive area for this particular zip code, and we're going to go over the average and median sales price within the last 12 months. The highest average sales price was a little bit over $489, and this was during August 2020. The lowest average sales price was close to $343, but not quite there, and this was in February of 2020. The highest median sales price was $49,750. This was during April of 2020, and the lowest median sales price was $297, which was in February 2020. Obviously, COVID could have really kind of made these numbers kind of crazy, as you know, as the market has been through some pretty high fluctuations this year. So we're also going to go over the average and median days to sell a home over the last 12 months. The highest average was 800 in the 800 to 900K range, with an average of 98 days to sell a home. The lowest average 900K to 1 million with 18 days, which is kind of weird or crazy because you would think the higher the home is, the longer it would take to sell. I will say in certain parts of Bay Island in the Shore Drive area, there are a lot of $1 million homes.
The highest median was 800K to 900K with the median of 108 days. The lowest median was 600K to 700K with a median of 17 days. So we're also going to go over some landmarks, restaurants, and the school zoning. And as mentioned before, this area covers a decent amount of the Chesapeake Bay and Virginia Beach. Part of the First Landing Park, which actually goes from 64th Street all the way to Shore Drive. Actually, vice versa. It starts at Shore Drive to 64th Street. Actually, it depends on where you're coming from, but you get the point. It's a pretty long trail. It's a beautiful place, and all the locals love it. However, I do believe a lot of tourists have kind of picked up on that area in recent times. There's the picture right there is Dockside Restaurant. It is a local seafood restaurant which is extremely popular in the summertime. We also have Bubba's, which is pretty much right next to Dockside, within walking distance, and it's also a popular seafood restaurant. You have Hot Tuna, which has been around for a long time. It is a restaurant, but also a place to socialize. And also, living in the Shore Drive area, there's a good chance that you might live on the water and have access to a dock. But if not, you have Marina Shores Marina. If you wanted to have a boat and you didn't have a dock, that's where you could go leave your boat. Also, you have Shorebreak Pizza, which is a very popular place. It's a restaurant, a pizza restaurant, obviously, and it is family friendly. It has been around since like 2003, maybe a little bit earlier, 2003, 2004. And that is actually a picture of me, not the best picture, but that's okay, with Chris Taylor, and he plays for the Dodgers. And actually, he won the world. They won the World Series this year, and he actually started in every game, and actually has been to 3 World Series now. But he is from this area. You have Inlet Fitness Gym, which has been around for a long time. It's really popular around that area. You have Bay Island neighborhood, and that has been around since the 50s and 60s. Obviously, it has been, when it first was around, there wasn't many houses on in that area. However, you have a ton of million plus houses back there. Some of them even over 2 million and possibly 3 million. Then you have Lynn Haven Colony neighborhood. It's been around for a long time. I would say 50s, 60s, maybe not the 50s, but 60s at least. And there's parts of that neighborhood that are on the water. Then you have Lynn Haven Shores condos, and you have a lot of other streets and neighborhoods, etc. But I don't have time to go through every single one of them. It would take up a lot of time. The school zoning for this area. So if you were to have kids and younger kids, they would go to John B. Dye, then they'd go to Great Neck Middle School and Frank W. Cox High School. They're all great schools and well rated in the city of Virginia Beach. Cox High School's, I think, been around since the 60s, and John B. Dye has been around for a long time also. So that's the school zoning for this particular part of Shore Drive. All right, so we're going to move on to the next area. So now we're going to move to the ocean front. 23 for the 23451 zip code and the average and median sales price within the last 12 months. Highest average sales price was a little bit over 562K, and that was in October of 2020. The lowest average sales price was around 325,500, and this was in November of 2020. Obviously, November has not ended, so that could change. The highest median sales price was around 480,000, and this was during April of 2020. And the lowest median sales price was 247, and this was during January of 2020. So the highest average, the highest average to sell was around 171 days, and this was in the 900K to $1 million range. The lowest average was around 33 days, and this was for the 150K to 200K range. The highest median was also 171 days, and that was also in the 900K to $1 million range. The lowest median, also again, was in the 150K to 200K range with a median of 23 days. And the reason you're seeing 150K to 200K is due to the fact there are some areas where there are small units down there, one bed, one bath units that are in the 150 to probably even 250K range. And so that kind of attracts maybe a single person that still wants to live down at the beach but doesn't want to spend a lot of money when they don't need the space, but they still get to live at the ocean front, or even somebody just kind of starting out in life, or a young adult that wants to possibly live at the ocean front, but they're just kind of getting started in their career and they don't have the money to necessarily buy a an expensive home in that area. So, here are some landmarks restaurants, and then finally we'll go over the school zoning for the oceanfront. Of course, you have the Hilton Hotel, you have the Neptune statue, you have El Jardinos, which is near the southern part of the oceanfront. You have the Marriott Hotel, Jungle Golf, CP Shuckers, Chicho's Pizza, Coastal Edge, which is a very popular surf shop. Chicho's is a pretty cool pizza place. You have the First Street Jetty. That's where a lot of people surf. A lot of people surf at North End too. However, First Street Jetty has always been popular. That's where they have the East Coast Surfing Championships every year in August. You have the fishing pier. You have Ocean Eddies, which is on the fishing pier. It's a restaurant. You have Chick's Restaurant. You have Waterman's, which has been around for a long time. It is a very popular spot with the locals. They are known for their orange crush. You have Calypso, which is, I guess, kind of like a restaurant, but it's more, in my opinion, since I've lived here my whole life, a place where people go and socialize and have drinks and stuff like that. You have Rudy's, which is a seafood restaurant, uh, and that's kind of much closer to First Street than a lot of these places. You have Big Sam's, which is really very kind of right next to Rudy's. Uh, then you have Rockefeller's, which is also very close to Rudy's and Big Sam's, which is another seafood restaurant, which is incredibly popular. You have the neighborhood Shadow Lawn, which is a beautiful neighborhood. It's been around for a pretty decent amount of time. Then you have Back Bay Brewery. I wouldn't really consider that the ocean front necessarily. That's coming down Norfolk Avenue, kind of close. It's incredibly close to the ocean front, but maybe I don't know if I should have necessarily included that in the oceanfront area. Then you have first, so the school zoning for the oceanfront, which would be the southern part of our beaches, uh, would be First Colonial High School, Virginia Beach Middle School, and W.T. Cook Elementary. And when I say southern part of Virginia Beach, so actually the southern part of our beaches would be Sandbridge. So excuse me on that. All right, so now we're going to move on to Bird Neck Road, Laskin Road, and other areas that are right next to these two popular roads in the 2345 zip code. The highest average sales price was 474 400 during November of 2020. The lowest average sales price was pretty close to 231 500, which was in May of 2020. The highest median sales price was 366 200, and this was during October of 2020. The lowest median sales price was 214K, and this was during November of 2020. Obviously, November has not ended, so we don't know if that number could change pretty dramatically. And the reason you kind of see these crazy numbers is due to the fact that Bird Neck Road, Laskin Road, and the areas right next to them are it's pretty diverse. You have a lot of condos, you have a lot of one bedroom, one bath units, apartment complexes, then you have big homes. Then you have Bird Neck Point, which I think probably uh, most of the homes back there are definitely going to be 800K and above, and some of them well above a million. So this is kind of a diverse area when you kind of look at it on a map. So the highest average time to sell in this area was the 800K to 900K range with 191 days. The lowest average was 500 to 600K with an average of 9 days. Highest median was also in the 800 to 900K range with 191 days. Lowest median, there was several different groups, the 200K to 250K range, the 300 to 350K range with an average of 7 days. So, here are some landmarks, restaurants, and then, of course, we'll get to the school zoning. You have Aloha Snacks. I really wouldn't say that is, well, it's not off of Bird Neck Road, but it's pretty close to Laskin, kind of right off of it. So I would, thought it would be nice to include it. You have the Virginia Beach Pavilion. That is not directly on Bird Neck Road, but it's kind of off of it. So it's relatively close. So that's why I said other areas. You have Linkhorn Bay. You have Linkhorn Bay, which is a estuary that kind of goes back to the Chesapeake Bay. You have Duck Donuts. That's more of the ocean front. Maybe I shouldn't have included that because Laskin Road runs all the way to the ocean front, and Duck Donuts is technically the ocean front. But, anyways, you have Nick's Seafood, which is right on Laskin Road. It's a restaurant that has been around for a very long time. You have Bay Local Eatery. You have My Real Estate Firm, Pile Realty. You have Bird Neck Animal Rescue, which is on Bird Neck, obviously. You have Bird Neck Point, which was a neighborhood I just mentioned. It is um, a very high end neighborhood. You have to have a lot of money to live back there. And then you have Salt Marsh Point, which is off of Norfolk Avenue, but closer to the end of, it's right off of Bird Neck Road. So when you go off of Bird Neck Road and hit Norfolk Avenue, Salt Marsh is, maybe a tenth of a mile away, at the most a quarter mile away, right when you turn down that road. So that's why I included it. So the schools for this area would be First Colonial High School. Parts of this is going to go to Ocean Lakes High School, believe it or not. Virginia Beach Middle School, W.T. Cook Elementary, Bird Neck Elementary, and SeaTac Elementary. And it's crazy. You have Bird Neck Elementary, which is right across, literally right across the street from SeaTac Elementary, which is I've never kind of figured that out, but it's there, and it's kind of weird that some kids go to Bird Neck and then some kids go to SeaTac, and literally they're right across the street from each other. Last area of the 23451 zip code, and we will obviously go over the average and median sales price within the last 12 months. The highest average was 936K. This was during October of 2020. The lowest average was 420K during September of 2020. The highest median was 875K during October of 2020. The lowest median was around 310K during March of 2020. So the highest range or average to sell a home was in the 600 to 700K range with an average of 123 days. The lowest average was in the 200 to 250K range, the 300 to 350K range, and 450 to 500K range with an average of 12 days. The highest median was 600 to 700K with 110 days. Lowest median was the 450 to 500K range, being 6 days. Also, You could also include the 400 to 450 range with it being sick days also. So here are some landmarks, restaurants, and of course we'll go over the school zoning at the end. You have the Virginia Beach Aquarium, which is right when you kind of get off the bridge of First Street and hit General Booth. You go down a little bit, and obviously you'll see this huge aquarium, which has been around for a long time. I think it's been around since the 80s. You have Croatan Beaches, which is right before you kind of hit the ocean front. You can actually see parts of First Street. Obviously, you could walk there over the bridge, but from Croatan Beaches, uh, they're really beautiful. You have Red Wing Park, which is further down General Booth, and then you have the Red Wing Golf Course, which is also close to the park, but further down General Booth, going away from the ocean front. You have Owl Creek Boat Slip, which is right next to the Virginia Aquarium, and of course, you have Owl Creek. People like to fish back in Owl Creek, and you can even work your way out to the Atlantic Ocean from that boat slip. Then you have Ocean Breeze Water Park, which is it's not far down General Booth, but it's, going away from the ocean front, um, close to the aquarium. It's a water park that has been around for many years. Then you have Camp Pendleton, which there's actually a part of Camp Pendleton that is separated by a fence and Croatan. One time I was surfing and the current actually put me on the Camp Pendleton side of the beach, and of course they came out and were like, "What are you doing?" I couldn't help it that the current, I was like 15 years old, and obviously the current took me to that beach. Obviously, I complied and got off the beach as quick as possible and went to the Croatan side. All right, so finally, the schools for this area. You'll have First Colonial High School. In Croatan, would go to First Colonial High School. Then you have Ocean Lakes. So Park Place, which is on Prosperity Road in General Booth, next to Red Wing Golf Course, or really close to it, close to Red Wing Park. That would go to Ocean Lakes High School. Um, some people would go to Virginia Beach Middle School. That would be Croatan, and then some would go to Corporate Landing Middle School, which would be that Prosperity area. And the further you go down General Booth, you would be going to Corporate Landing and Ocean Lakes. Then you have W.T. Cook Elementary School and Bird Neck Elementary School. And I should have probably included SeaTac in there too. But, anyways, these are the schools and the zoning for this part of the 23451 area. So that's it for the areas and it being broken down. But I did want to go over and kind of summarize at the end what what's going on in this area, and actually show you some pictures of houses uh, and talk about some other things. All right, so as I mentioned in the last slide, we're going to go over kind of a summary, and I just wanted to show you some pictures of what some properties look like. Obviously, the 23451 zip code is incredibly diverse, so this is just kind of a small picture of what these properties look like. These are pictures from my firm's listing, so I'm not using anybody else's listing. I had permission to do that. So, anyways, these are off market and they have already been sold, except for the Coquina one right there off Alaskan Road. I mentioned that in the beginning. It is under contract as of right now. That is off Alaskan Road. That condo, which was at 325K. And then you have Croatan right there. I think that house was around 1.2 million, and obviously, it is a really nice house. It's right on the beach, and actually, my broker just sold another home in Croatan at not quite 4 million, but around 3.8 million, and I think it sold within 12 days, cash, full price offer. So it is a very high demand area. Then you have Salt Marsh Point. This is off of Norfolk Avenue. these properties are nice in my opinion. They're kind of, you're kind of crammed in there a little bit, but hey, look, you get to live right at the beach, or not right at the beach, but incredibly close to it, walking distance or bike riding distance at least. And it's a really nice neighborhood. Then you have Birdneck. Birdneck is really diverse. So, as I mentioned in the Birdneck Laskin Road slide, you have condos and apartment complexes all up and down Birdneck, and then a decent amount of condos on Laskin. Actually, those condos right there is my boss or broker built these condos and actually rents them out right now. He hasn't sold any, but he owns all of those condos, and there's more than what you see in that picture, but that's just an idea. And then you have the north end, that is a vacation rental, or was a vacation rental, uh, managed by us, and that property right there is I think on 55th and a half Street, and it is really, really nice. And then you have Shadow Lawn. I think that was also a vacation rental or a short term rental. And Shadow Lawn, you have a lot of diversity in there. You have smaller homes, bigger homes, homes that are older, and you have some newer homes, maybe not necessarily brand new construction, but built within the last 3 to 5 years, or even earlier than that. But anyways, I just wanted to show you a couple pictures of what the homes look like in this area. Obviously, I can't show you everything. This area is kind of diverse in what types of houses you can get. So, a summary of the 23451 zip code: very high demand, very in touch with nature. If you're a nature person, you like the beach, you like trails, you like to be outside, or you like to surf, or you like the Chesapeake Bay, or you like fishing, this is obviously where you would want to live. However, it can be pricey to live in this area. Many of the areas in this zip code are great for walkability. A lot of these areas that I broke down are close to restaurants. You could walk there, you could ride a bike. Many of these areas are close to interstate routes. There are some that are not, but for the most part, um, you have a lot of advantages living in this area. So that's why it's so high in demand. Most people that live in Virginia Beach, they either have lived here their whole life, or they're in the military, or they're people from other states. And one of the main attractions that brings them down here is the beach. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this slide and slideshow, or whatever you want to call it, or presentation. And I hope you got some valuable information. If you have any questions about real estate in the Virginia Beach area and Hampton Roads area, I will be making more videos. Maybe not necessarily like this, where it's a presentation, but on other areas and what it's like to live there and what's going on there and the advantages and possibly even disadvantages of living in those areas. So you can give me a call at 757-323-3692. You can go visit my website, yourhamptonroadsrealtor.com. Please subscribe to my YouTube page, like the Facebook page, and as mentioned earlier, uh, I hope that you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.